Welcome in, welcome in, welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 In, 3 Out, the most unique Seahawks recap show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz. And Brandon, I'll lead out there with a great question. Winning way better than losing. I'm still feeling holly jolly after that huge W in the rain. How are you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, it was nice to get one of those games out of the gauntlet as a win because it was such a stretch of really tough teams. And for Drew Lock to be the one to get the win, holy smokes. And to do it in the fashion that he did, it's hard not to continually be satisfied with that victory.
I love it, with the trade, with the victory, with Pete's little shuffle, his little post game, firing up everybody in the locker room.
Backwards hat, Pete, MFing in the locker room.
Drew Lock's post game, interview, the Gino Drew Lock love fest. And then, one thing that I noticed too is, which I don't expect people to talk about too much, is that, look, we did all that without our best defensive player. Well, Leo might be our best, but certainly one of the two best. But Spoon, I know nationally he's not known yet. But it was really interesting that you got Jamal Adams taking his ball and going home, literally. Mm-hmm. You got Tariq, who was pretty much benched. He played, but he didn't play a lot. Yeah. And I do wonder what we think this is going to look like just in a couple of days when we got to go over to Nashville. And before we get into the ins and the outs and the whole thing, what do you think? I mean, team-wise, did you like what you saw on the field from these DBs? And do you think we just kind of now stick with what works?
I would like to see them stick with what works. I don't know if that's going to be ultimately what happens, but it almost feels more like this was the defense that they had planned for, with Jamal being injured most of the preseason.
Yeah.
That this is what Quandre and Julian were kind of supposed to do at the safety spot, because you saw them rotate toward being deep safety versus being more of the box safety. And I liked how that played out. And I liked the overall physicality from the group of defensive backs. And, whether taking out Tariq and putting in Mike Jack helped with that, it felt like it might have, because the way that Mike Jack was covering some of those wide receiver screens. Yeah, I liked how this group looked. And when they were in dime, it made it look even better, because even with Arty Burns playing well, you got some Kobe Bryant in there, and you didn't see any big plays given up by those guys either. So this is the type of depth that I thought we had to work with early on that would be able to compensate for some of these issues. But yeah, it's kind of weird and goes against how I thought where we had depth and strength within that depth.
It was cool. It was very cool to see. And there was a lot. We will get into those ins and outs, and some of those names that you're talking about. I think a little foreshadowing might be involved. In general, though, just Julian Love observation wise, it wasn't just the 2 picks. The 2 picks are glorious. There was lots of plays where he's down the box and he's making some really solid tackles right there too. So he just played a heck of a ball game. Just saw on Twitter before we hopped on that he was named NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Mm-hmm. Kudos to Julian there. That's awesome. And a couple of things that I'm not going to be talking about on 3 In, 3 Out. Maybe you'll bring one of these up later, but I did want to bring them up. I say every single week, Leo Williams is really good at football. This dude's good, man. It is just on repeat. He is so solid, so consistent, and just a game wrecker. Just re-sign that dude. He is so darn good. And then I think the other big thing that stood out for me was that I won't talk about on the ins and outs, is seeing Abe Lucas and Charles Cross for 100% of the snaps. And then, lo and behold, the difference it kind of made across the board there. And I think Drew Lock did a nice job of, when he saw something, especially late, get the ball out early. That JSN touchdown, that ball's out in an instant. Mm-hmm. It's almost like he hits the back foot. It's gone already. It's pretty incredible. So a couple things that I really love there. I think just having Lucas there the entire game and not having to have old man Peter sub in versus Hassan Reddick, which we talked about on What If, would be like, ooh, that could spell bad news Bears. But it was more like Son Reddick, who he was kind of washed out of the game. So any
Right.
thoughts on actually having a cohesive offensive line for seemingly the first time all year?
It was nice. It was because then it allowed, you have your man crush on Leonard Williams on the defense. I have my man crush on Kenneth Walker on the offense. And
Nice.
so having that offensive line and that cohesion, I think helped out Ken Walker too.
Yeah, Ken Walker helped himself, and he was helped with some just good blocking, and a lot of the stuff from Delu and stuff like that. It was just gorgeous. I saw a Baldy breakdown. I love those. I'm all about the Baldy breakdowns. They're great. I just think he's an authentic, knows his stuff, kind of a ex NFLer, does a good job, and he was just given so much shine and love to K9, and rightfully so. I, one more thing on that part too is we watched the Buffalo Bills kind of finally figure it out when it came to, oh, James Cook is really, really great. Let's feed
Yeah.
James Cook the rock. Cool. Hey, you know what? You know who's really, really great dynamic? Kenneth Walker III. And he got his volume went up. I like Charbonnet. I do like him. You pointed out early in the year, but there is a difference. They are different. And the special explosive plays and getting out of like Houdini-esque things for that would have been negative consequences. That's canine, man. There is a delta there. I like the compliment, but I think this game really exemplified the specialty that is Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, and I think we have those opportunities throughout the season with all these different kinds of players, and we think, oh yeah, well, this guy on the depth chart, Jake Bobo is so good, but could he do what DK does? And then you have DK go down the field and catch one over the middle one handed, then clinch it to his backside and take it out of the arms of James Bradbury. And you got him, catching it between two dudes, contested catch. Oh, DK can't do contested catches. He has terrible hands. He can't do one-handed catches on throws over the middle. And we see all of that on one game-winning drive.
Yep. 92 yards later, we are celebrating, and we are still celebrating here. I think everybody can feel the energy because we back up. We back up, Brandon. I never lost faith. I even thought we could lose the Eagles game and still go 3-1 down the stretch and still make the playoffs. I do want to talk maybe later about the upcoming schedule a little bit. We got a lot to cover today. And of course, for the listeners out there, if you're on YouTube, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast, if you want to give us a gift, the biggest gift you could do is subscribe to the show, like the show on YouTube. And of course, if you want to do a little extra, Brandon, what kind of perks can they get, and where should they go if they want to do something a little extra for the holiday and Christmas season?
A little extra. You could go to getintheflock.com. You could subscribe there, join us, and help support the show. $3 a month and above get you under Discord. Also, you can go there and you can just subscribe, and that way you get any email notifications that we put out through there. Sometimes we do different things just to communicate with that group. So getintheflock.com, or right on YouTube, click the join button and help support the show that way.
Yeah, we did have a couple of folks. I think at least one join and by subscribing on the reaction show with you and Adam. And that was awesome to see. There was over 200 people celebrating in real time, and that's what it's all about. And winning is so much better than losing. However, Brandon, it has been weeks. I feel like the woman from Titanic, like it's been 84 years, and I don't know. I know we have a rule. I know there's only one rule. But by golly, in the spirit of that 84-year-old woman with the diamond thingy, I don't remember the rule, Brandon. I need help. I need to phone a friend. It's the holiday season. Can you help a brother out?
I think so. I think if I remember right. It's been a while.
It is.
But I think when we win, we start with an in.
Oh, I love it. The rhymes are there. It is the holly jolly spirit. When we win, we start with an in. So let's get to it. Whammy that thing. Let's get to our first in. Let's do it. Oh, the holly jolly season is upon us. We get to start with an in. So much better than losing. My days have been so much better. I know it's Christmas time and I'm fired up anyway, but I'm more fired up. By the way, I put some gifts into this presentation. Turns out they don't gif. They're just that. But we see Pete on screen there if you're watching it on there, because this is all about that belief that Pete still has this team. And if you watched the celebration in the locker room afterwards. Well, you know it's true. You know it's absolutely true. All right, so we're going to get
And
to
Pete has a hat on, and Pete with a hat
exactly
is better than Pete without a hat.
4-0 is Pete Carroll with the hat on at this point in his career.
Yeah.
4-0,
This
three
is
of those
better
wins.
than Shoddy's record with a full hat when he was offensive coordinator. So yeah, Pete's got to keep this up.
Yeah, just wear a hat. You know, rain, shine, dome, don't matter. Wear the hat, right? All right, so we're going to get to in number one. This is quarter two, first play in quarter two, so 15 minutes to go. This was after the punt, the pat, the lion, the witch, the wardrobe, and hey, it's a penalty. Hey, it's that. Oh, we're gonna flip fields anyway. Oh, that whole nonsense, all good. So it is quarter two, play one in quarter two. Eagles got the ball at the 20. No, sorry, it's about the 29-yard line, and I think it's first down right after that punt. It is first down, and
It would be. That's usually where they start.
that's typically right. They don't usually start at third down. It's not usually what you do, not yet at least, and not in 2023, 2024. What I liked about this on screen, Brandon, I got Mr. Arty Burns. We talked about him earlier. He's going to come off a little corner blitz. He's playing tight, almost like a linebacker position slot, and he comes in hot, comes in like a pistol. You got Jalen Hurts in shotgun. Do you remember how this play ends? Do you remember what Arty Burns does successfully, which so often it seems like we don't really do all that well, but Arty does it? Do you recall?
Ooh, I don't recall, but I'm going to guess batted pass.
Batted the ball down. And it's just one of those things where so often I feel like we blitz and we get into the lane, but we don't put our hands up. Like we literally just do not disrupt. And I think there's a bit of coaching philosophy with like a don't leave your feet thing that the Seahawks are taught, like don't leave your feet. Obviously, Arty Burns does here. He gets the tip, and it's just these big momentum stoppers. And I love highlighting these dudes who are not the superstars that when they had a chance to shine, they did shine. So I wanted to give our first in and love to Arty Burns, and just man, I love the batted pass. The batted pass sack. Of course, we love sacks.
Yep.
And a TFL, but on the Mount Rushmore of things you can do to make a team feel silly, I love a batted pass right back in someone's face. How do you feel about it?
Batted pass is good. It's up there. Tackle for, sack, tackle for a loss. And then, just your every, average stop. It probably is above stop and below tackle for a loss.
I think you've nailed that for sure. And just like Arty Burns nailed this first one. Anything else about his play? We talked about it a bit before we got into the ins and outs, but anything that you liked or want to compliment Arty in general on?
Yeah, well, the cool thing about Arty, he got as much playing time as he did because Devin Witherspoon not in there, and just because Spoon was out didn't mean that they went to more traditional style defense. They were heavy nickel defense this entire game, and it showed out in Arty Burns snaps, playing 63 of the 69 snaps on the day. So only six snaps when he was off the field. And I guess that kind of correlates with the fact that Kobe Bryant was on the field for 6 snaps. So they were in nickel heavy. They did play some dime too. And Arty Burns played well. He ended up being the 3rd highest graded defender, according to Pro Football Focus.
Well, there you have it. Stats don't lie. The eye test don't lie. Huzzah to Arty Burns, our first in a lot of weeks. All right. Well, the show, we got to get to the outs. That's how it goes. Let's whammy. Let's head on over to out number 1. As I say, it ain't all roses, and portions of this game made you want to poke your eyes out a little bit. However, it was still, it was a good game. I like the slugfests. I like these kind of battles. And then of course the heroes. And of course, when you win, it's a heck of a lot better. This we didn't love. This is now out number 1, late Q2. It's 10-0 Eagles. And what I will pull up on screen here is we got our first drive. We end up kicking a field goal here, right? This is the 4th down play. What I don't understand here is people are like, the hard count never works. You never get the hard count. Why do they even do it? Just grumble, yell at cloud. However, the hard count does work sometimes against us. And in this case, Drew Lock's doing his thing. The hard count worked. We got the Eagles guy. I think was that Reddick. I forget who. I think it's Reddick. Either way, left hand side. He's on the screen there. He jumped. He jumps. What I don't understand is maybe Brandan. Is it just so infrequent that it actually friggin' works for us? That the three dudes directly in front of the guy who jumped didn't do the pointy thing.
Didn't even react, or yeah.
Just do the stand up and point at the guy, and it's 5 free yards. I don't get it. Like, this is that not taught? It's an out for all three of them. You got Parkinson. I think it was Disley and Abe. But I think it's Parkinson, Abe, and then either way, it's the trio.
Yeah,
it's
Bradford,
right
and you can
it's
throw
Bradford,
the center in there too, because the center could also snap it. If that's what you're doing, if you're going off the hard count, then you can also snap the football as part of that, and then they're offside, and then it's a free play.
Yeah, and I'll give Evan Brown the polite pass, just because there's three other dudes that are right there in front of him. So like one of those three stand up, do the pointy thing, and it's first and goal from the 3 at that point, right? And we're probably scoring 7. I know we win the game. I know how this all plays out. At that moment, though, didn't it feel like only getting 3 was really detrimental?
It was tough, but you wanted to get points on the board at that point too. So I kind of understood it. I like the idea with considering as many. I think they still had all their timeouts in this situation. So going out there and making them actually have to stay in their spot and try and make a move like that made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess the bonus that you get with the pointy thing move that you talk about is that if the officials then don't throw the flag,
Yes.
then you're actually having to run a play, and it has to be successful, or else that you turn over the football. If you stand up and point and they don't throw the flag, or they give you a false start for standing up, then you're kicking the field goal anyway.
Right. That thank you. That's exactly it. Is like, it is a no harm, no foul. You're at a position in the field. It's such a chip shot that you might as well even stand up and point, even if the dude doesn't move. It's like, well, maybe they see something. I mean, this is the
Tyler Lockett can fall on the ground and act like he got hit.
Correct. Not like the ball was 7 yards over his head. No. But that's you encapsulated it perfectly. I just think that they're so not used to getting people to jump. Going back a decade with Russ, it didn't really work all that much, that they just weren't expecting the Eagles to jump. They did. We missed it. It's an out. We got more ins. Let's whammy. Oh, that was fun. Okay, we're going to get back to this one now.
Even the outs are fun when you win.
Exactly. Well, it's like, okay, we only got 3 there. We won the game. It's great. So, all right, in Q3, 7 minutes to go. Let's pull this back up on screen. We'll get to the in number 2. So 7 minutes to go. You probably knew this one was coming. We preambled with the best of them. We talked Arty Burns. We talked Mike Jack. I love this play. You got the Eagles at their own, or actually are on our 33-ish yard line there. It's a tight end screen. Goddard's in the slot, and you got DeAndre Swift, who's out on the edge, trying to block Michael Jackson. Brandan, it's the recognition, and then pair that with the gumption, balls, tenacity. I'm not trying to rag on, Tariq here. I just don't think he's making this play the way Michael Jackson made it, because I know what Mike Jack does from this moment on. So why don't you take it away? What does he do?
Oh yeah, he engages in the block and he pushes him into that tight end, and then there it is. He makes the tackle. So yeah, it's kind of there's a domino in the way, and you just push that domino either out of the way or into your the guy with the ball, and then you make the play yourself. Like it's not holding the block so somebody else can come over and make the play. He's just, I'm gonna do this all myself.
Yeah, like sometimes Captain America uses his shield as a shield, and very often he's decapitating people with his shield, right? They don't show that because it's Marvel and Disney and all that,
Right.
but we know he's
You know.
decapitating people. We're adults here. Let's not pretend there's blood on that shield, people. And that's what Mike Jack chose, violence. And when we choose violence in the football field way, I'm all about it. This was choosing violence. You lovely summation there, not just to stand the dude up and take away a lane, but to be the aggressor. And that's exactly what Mike Jackson did here. So similar question, vibes on Mike Jack. And do you think we hit it on a little earlier, but his gameplay, does the dude earn another week? Like, does it matter? Does he earn another week just being one of the starting cornerbacks?
I think there might be a way ahead to where you mix it up a little bit with the corners that you have, because I think there are some strengths that Woolen has in certain situations to where it might make sense to rotate these guys. And I don't know why and maybe just because teams don't have that kind of depth. We've seen the Seahawks do that at places on the offensive line, which I think makes less sense to me. But at corner, where you're having to run frequently and maybe having a fresh dude out there actually gives them a little bit of a benefit, I don't see any kind of cause for concern to doing that, because overall you might have guys out there with some fresh legs and fresh lungs.
Yeah, and as long as they're pairing all that with some fresh tackling and not being afraid of contact and choosing to be the aggressor, well, then I think we're playing Seahawks football, which this game felt quite a bit like. I know there were some doldrums here. Look, Philadelphia was 10-3. I know they lost two, now three in a row, but they were still a 10-3 ball, a ball team. They were a ball team, Brandon, whatever that means. A 10-3 team. And we were the aggressor. We were the ones hitting harder once again. We were the ones with more consistent tackling and running the ball way more effectively. And all those things add up to me as like, that's how Pete Carroll wants to play football. And oh, by the way, it's how the Rams play football. It's how the 49ers play football. And
Yeah.
look, it's now how the Buffalo Bills are finally playing football instead of Josh Allen hero ball. They run the ball first, and then Josh Allen becomes that much better. Even the Bengals. This point I really wanted to discuss at least a little bit. Joe Burrow goes down. Oh, this season's over. Or we have a really good team and there's a competent backup. And if we lean into what Joe Mixon and company can be and go from like 1/3 passing to basically 60% running, lo and behold, we can still win games in the NFL. This Pete's philosophy of how to win ball games, it's being proven out, frankly, more than ever in this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just weird that he's one of the last ones to kind of make that switch over, as to where other coaches are realizing, oh, yes, we can make this switch and it can work. And on the topic, too, of physicality, do you happen to have a soul-stealing play as one of your ins this week?
I do not. I know what you're talking about, so maybe we'll talk about it later.
Well, I'll talk about it now, because while
Nice.
we're talking about physicality, this game started off with
Yes.
Derek Hall absolutely destroying Boston Scott on the opening kickoff. So I love that set the tone early. It's not my brand in this week, but with Mike Jack showing the physicality here, it compounded, and so I wanted to give Derek Hall a little call out.
Love it. Yeah, that's it. We're home. He just sticks the guy, man, sticks Boston Scott, and it was a big hit. And look where Derek Hall has been, a little hit and miss this year as a rookie on the edge. You're a rookie, dude. Go make it in other ways. What else can you ask of the young man? He charged down there and got the crowd fired up right away. Sure, did the Eagles drive right down the field and score 7? Sure, but we don't mind that. All right, let's get to the next out. Let's whammy. Excellent. Out number 2. We're into the fourth quarter now, and this game was there were so many times where I was like, oh boy, they're gonna put this away, and then they didn't. The defense found a way. Even if the Eagles got to like the 50-yard line, the Eagles ended up punting, or there was interceptions. It was really cool. This is Q4, 17-13 Eagles, about 8:47 to go in the game. I'm going to pull it up on screen. This is a Jordan Brooks linebacker blitz, and they convert on this. I think it's a third down. They convert to the Devonta Smith, like 13 yards, a little too easy. Look, it's not the play call. I love it. Bring the heat, bring the blitz. Jordan Brooks, timely, didn't give it away. He's right there, and there's a different angle here. Brandon, as I gave some love to Arty Burns for doing something earlier, I've noticed over the weeks, Jordan Brooks doesn't do this thing. And I think it might be coaching. A couple of weeks ago when they sent him on a blitz that near the goal line, same thing, was like an easy dump off touchdown right in front of Bobby. But Jordan Brooks is the one sent on a blitz. Why when you're going into a lane, are we not putting our hands up? Like, why are we not just like the dude's throwing?
Yeah.
Like, what's the harm of jumping and getting in his way, especially when you look around like he's got really no place to go. He's not going to get through you if you just jump in his way. It's frustrating to me that we don't put our hands up in the vision of quarterbacks very often. Why I was delighted by Arty Burns and why I'm calling out Jordan Brooks for like, dude, throw your hands up. So that's it. Put your hands up.
Well, the nice thing I liked about the Arty Burns play is that he left his feet like at the right time. And the thing about blitzing from this spot, I think you don't want to jump at the wrong moment and have him then be able to tuck the football. Like if he's coming in, you at least want to come in with your hands up though.
Yeah.
Because then you're making him have to move around, and you're just making it a little bit tougher on Hurts.
I don't think I have a next one here. Yeah, no, I don't. It just seems odd to me that you would do all this, right? It's a good call. It's the right time. You get the look defensively. Like that lane is there on purpose. Like your other dudes are doing this, so you get a shot and you get the lane. And I think you're actually trying to bait the quarterback to go there because Clint Hurts thinking conceptually, okay, this is going to be a quick look. His hot route is probably here. We're going to disrupt that hot route. These things line up like Orion's belt, Brandon. It's just the execution of, okay, get bigger, stand up like a grizzly bear, in what's that wonderful the great outdoors, right? Stand up big like a grizzly. And
I thought you were going to go with Cocaine Bear, but okay.
Or the Reverend, or any other place that bears, Paddington Bear, the second one, any of the bears. I celebrate.
Paddington does look very menacing when he stands on those back 2 feet.
Even though he's always on his back 2 feet, that's okay. Neither here nor there. Either way, Jordan Brooks, get your darn hands up, block this thing, just make it tougher next time. Somebody coach this up, Brandon. Send this to Coach Carroll and Clint Hurt. Let's go.
Hey, well, turning it out to an in. Look at Bobby on the coverage on this snap here.
Hey, earlier he was very close to being on my naughty list with some of his flat feet and just slowness early in the game. This is a great call by you. What kept him off of it was that, in my estimation, he improved mid-game, or they stopped looking over the middle, but it just wasn't like the first 2 drives. It just kind of stopped. So yes, Bobby, right on his man, not flat-footed, not being reactionary, being proactive. Yes, that is an in for Bobby Wagner. That's how we do it when we win. Love it. Good job by you, Brandon. Very good job by you. In fact,
you had it up on the screen. It was a walk-in touchdown for me.
Love it. Well, we're speaking about touchdowns, so we're going right to the last drive of the game. And listen, we all love the JSN moment. Beautiful. It's well executed as a pocket thingy. Drew the hose does hose like things. Love it all. The one that sets it up, and there's a couple, but the one that really sets it up in the last drive is going to be the floater down the right-hand side to Metcalf. We talked about that earlier. He high points it. It's between the cornerback and the safety coming over. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. But why is there time? There's time because do you know, with that long, elongated action green arrow, do you know who that is on the Eagles side that I'm pointing to, Brandon? Can you see
that? Would probably be Fletcher Cox.
It is a younger version of
or
Fletcher
Brandon
Cox.
Graham.
A younger version
Jalen
still.
Carter.
Jalen Carter. It is Jalen Carter, number 98 on the Eagles. And of course, we like to talk about this because we passed on Jalen Carter. And besides one play, which that was a good play by him, where he burns Bradford and gets that sack.
He did have one good play in this
He
game.
did. He did. That was a disruptive play, and it was a big moment too. So, okay, I'm not going to not take that away from anybody. Besides that, he was kind of a non-factor. You didn't hear Hassan Reddick's name. You didn't hear any of these whoppers they have along the line. So he did a real nice job. But I love the fact, I love what D-Lou does to him. So Carter tries to go inside. D-Lou takes that energy, rides that energy, and then he just body slams him. So he kind of gets under, he takes like his left paw, D-Lou, gets under Carter's right shoulder pad, and then like wrestle, but without holding, just turns the dude and absolutely pancakes Jalen Carter. And then lo and behold, what do you see that Drew Lock has in this motion capture here?
He's got a pocket thingy.
He's got a pocket thingy. Lets it fly, poke high. Al Bundy back there, 4 touchdowns in one game, and he does Drew Lock things. He's throwing the pill around as he says. So loved it so much. Anything else you saw from D-Lou, or we talked about the offensive line, but were you enamored with some of the play that you saw from our boys up front?
I'm just enamored with this screenshot because is D-Lou did he pancake him, or did Jalen Carter just decide to take a nap on this snap?
No, this is
down on the ground. It's been a long day.
It's a little tougher to see here, but it's absolutely a pancake. And for those watching on YouTube, I put the GIF in here. You can't see it on screen, but it's of Dave Chappelle dressed up as Prince in that skit he does when they go play basketball. And then Dave Chappelle says, of course, after the game, he made us pancakes. And Chappelle in the Prince outfit is showing these luscious stack of pancakes. It is a pancake. It is a pancake breakfast here. We are celebrating. Yeah, he rides Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter does some of the work momentum wise. But this is a
we should do a show sometime to where you just narrate GIFs. Clinton narrates popular GIFs.
GIFs that ought to be moving, but they're not. And I describe them in over minute detail. I think that's a niche. It's a niche.
I think that's a potential show idea. I think
maybe that's something. Just a Discord only, these are the perks we're talking about. Right. So that was a lovely, beautiful play, perfect timing. These are the kind of things look, the play happens. And of course it's locked to Metcalf and all eyes are on there. You watch the replay and you're like, oh, like that was the play within the play was D-Lou just body shopping Jalen Carter. So couldn't happen to a nicer person. I was happy about that, Brandon.
I love it.
Yes. All right. We got one more out. Let's do it. Out number 3. First he giveth, then he taketh away. I'm going back to Arty Burns on this one. This is Q4. About 4 minutes to go in the game. After this play, Brandon, I thought we lost. I was like, let me put it this way. My heart was saying, well, we're not winning this game. So this, again, I got to give some love to Clint Hurt. Clint Hurt dials up a cornerback run blitz. And of course, if it's not a run, then it's just a blitz. But I truly believe this is a cornerback run blitz purposely dialed up by Clint Hurt. It's a counter. I think it's a counter to DeAndre Swift. And it is perfectly set up. Unfortunately, just going through it, you can see the blur over there. Now, Swift is a talented back. And if it looks, this screenshot doesn't actually do it justice. Swift is a good back. It's tough to tackle dudes in the open field. He does a bit of an okey doke. But it is a complete swing and a miss by Arty Burns. He goes down the left-hand side for, I think, another 13 yards. It's a first down. He slides to stay in bounds, keep the clock running. At that point, they are across R50 with the ball, with the first down, with just a few minutes to go. And I'm like, whoa, like this is it. Yeah, we're not winning. So the moment, the call being great by Clint Hurt, the execution being poor by Arty Burns. He gets it in, he gets it out. Them's are the facts of life.
Yeah, this is where Arty Burns and the difference between having Devin Witherspoon playing in that spot, it showed up, because Witherspoon makes this tackle 99 times out of 100. and it was Arty's second missed tackle on the day. So I mentioned earlier when we talked to, and we hyped up Arty as being the top third player on PFF. It's kind of surprising because he actually received the worst tackling grade of all the players on the defense because of 2 missed tackles, and this one in particular. So as much good as he did throughout the day, that was the one kind of sober yin to his raging yang of a day.
Yeah, well, perfectly put there. And it is kind of interesting that he ranks so high but I love the point you made, like, because it goes back to what we said at the top. It's the national media is not going to talk too much that Spoon wasn't there, because they don't quite know Spoon just yet. Of course, he had the Monday night game where he was huge and had the pick 6, and that was in New York. So introduction to the world that way. Yes, he's the 5th overall pick. Yes, we all know him. But league wide, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, Spoon's out. Like the average fan. Well, Spoon's out. This is going to be really difficult. It is really difficult. But that's our best defensive, definitely best defensive back, probably our best tackler, and yeah. So, but giving some love back to Arty, he did get that in. So he's just completing the yin and yang. He's doing the work. That's all, Brandon.
It's the circle of 3 in 3 out life.
It's the circle of life. It's the circle of life, the whole thing, the Simba, which, by the way, I think it was Jeremy Evergreen in the Discord. We'll probably see it later. He said the JSN catch reminded him of, he called it the Simba, because holding up Simba at the and over the cliff there. So which I found.
Let's get the Photoshop ready. I want to see that.
We must. All right. Well, listen, when we win, we not only get to start with an in, but we also get the BrandIN, the extra nugget. You go to McDonald's, you get the meals, you get home, and there's the bag fries. They're the best fries. They're most delicious. They're extra. So we get the BrandIN, and Brandon, I created a specific graphic for you this week, and here it is. BrandIN, it's my turn. You be quiet, which means me, I be quiet. You get to serve it to me. What do you want to talk about, my friend?
It's funny that you use this picture, because if I were a realtor, this would be the photo that I would have on my realty card, because every realtor uses a photo that's about 15 years old. So this is perfect.
This is when you go to LinkedIn, you put in Brandon Schultz. This is what comes up. So do better.
That's about part. When I set up the profile. So
it
works out. As a realtor, you never update your photo from when you get your initial business card. That's fine.
I love it. And your realtor signs all over town would say, "If you lived here, you'd be home already." And that's
I use that joke all the time, and I love it. So yes, my BrandIN this week is for, and Clinton, I feel like you set it up perfectly, talking about that Arty Burns missed tackle, because this is the point of the game that I want to go to, because that was a first down play. We go to 2nd and 7, then 2:59 left on the clock in the 4th quarter. And this is right after, I think, Bobby and maybe it was Julian Love too, or maybe it was, anyway, they get a stop. It's a 3-yard gain. So it's 2nd and 7. And at this point of the game, you're looking for that one play to kind of turn the momentum. And I think Arty Burns could have had that play, because you get the stop in the backfield on first down. It kind of slows things down. But here we go, 2nd and 7, and they're in run out the clock mode. So, the Eagles drive to this point. Let's go back a little bit, because before that Swift 11-yard run, their first play of the drive, it was Gainwell for 3 yards. Hurts had a 6-yard run, then another Hurts keeper up the middle for 2 yards, then the Swift run, and then Swift got another few yards. And so at this point, if the Eagles on 2nd and 7, if they even get a yard or 2 of positive yardage, then they're going to run it again on 3rd down, and then maybe again on 4th down, because like you pointed out, they're already across midfield. So if it's 4th and 2, maybe they just go for it, try and close it out. That's the kind of team they are.
Yes, they would have.
And I want to point to Leonard Williams, because off of the snap, and this is on 2nd and 7, it looks like he's double teamed. He's got the right guard and the right tackle, and then Goddard is even coming across the formation. He's the pulling tight end and creating traffic there right in front of DeAndre Swift. And it's like everything opens up for Leonard Williams. He parts the seas. He gets the tackle for a loss. It moves it to 3rd and 7. It puts Philly then into a passing down. And on top of that, it puts them into a passing down. It saves the team a timeout, which I don't think they even ended up using. But the fact that they were in this run the clock out mode and they were hoping to get the ball back. It was this play in this moment, getting a tackle for a loss. And maybe it didn't go down in the books as a tackle for a loss, but he did tackle him behind the line of scrimmage. It went from 2nd and 7 to 3rd and 7. So I don't know if it counts that same way. But then it allowed the Seahawks to put in their dime package on 3rd and 7. And that's when you saw all of the running around by Jalen Hurts. Ultimately, it goes incomplete, but it's then because you had Bobby rushing, you had the 4 defenders rushing, you had everybody else back in coverage that made it that much harder for Jalen Hurts then to try and find somebody downfield. And I'll even add on top of that, it was freaking Williams that was running sideline to sideline with Jalen Hurts to help him, to make sure that he couldn't get that positive yardage in the run. So my BrandIN is going to big Mr. Williams.
The big cat. I absolutely love it. All of that, all the nooks and crannies you just laid out there, it culminated with, hey, we got them to the 3rd and 7. By the way, that's a TFL. Count it, book it, pay the man. Probably got some bonus structure around that. Pay the man his money. With that, your most salient point is, yeah, it allowed us to put the dime package out there. So when they're in the backyard scramble drill, well, guess what? We got the best possible ensemble that can cover scramble drill type crap, because we got the speed guys out there. So it all dominoes effect. We got the right dudes. We get the right coverage. Good job by the refs for there was no PI on that play, but you never know in today's NFL. Good job of not throwing some phantom flag. We get the ball back, and then we know how it ends. 92 yards later, and Pete's dancing in the lockers. It was absolutely lovely. So great job on the BrandIN. We're going to rotate over. Brandan, how is, we got to check in, just first and foremost, the MVC trophy, the 3D printer. Is it okay? It has been a month plus of no usage. Did you keep it warmed up? Did you keep it calibrated? Did it rock and roll? Do we have a trophy this week actually printed?
The thing about it this week, whoever the MVC goes to, it's the 3D printers. They have like these weird lines. Like if it powers down mid print, you end up with these kind of weird lines within the print because it dries and then it has to restart. So I think like there were, because we have to get it started ahead of time, just because 3D printing takes forever. And so with 4 weeks now, there's probably like 4 of those little notches. So maybe it's kind of a cool thing to get this 3D printed trophy, and you're like, you have all these weird notches in it, and that represents the number of losses in between the last MVC.
I love it. It means that much more. It's like the sediment layers. You're looking at a canyon, right? You have the sediment layers there, Brandan, and that's all it is. It's those memories of losses, which makes the MVC that much more significant. And it is going to none other than D. Lou, the guard, number 68, of course. And this is going on the placard for serving Jalen Carter a pancake breakfast at a super critical time. So, very lengthy. We pay by the letter, but
by the line. Right? Yeah. You go over to the 3rd line. You probably could have kept it to, you could have said for serving Jalen Carter a pancake breakfast, but you had to go to the 3rd line. It's an extra like $15 a line, but it's worth it for Damien Lewis.
Totally worth it. This will end up, we got to ship it to the VMAC. And I think this is D-Lou's first. I'd have to go back into the history books, and I'm not going to do that. So I think this is D-Lou's first. So congratulations, Damien Lewis, for pancaking Jalen Carter. We get the MVC, and we got everything, Brandan. We started with an in, all the nooks, all the crannies, the beautiful BrandIN, the MVC. Winning is better than losing. We're so holly jolly. And yet, Brandan, There's more. What do we got
There's
next?
more. Yes. Well, before we get to the more, I do
Yeah.
want to hear from our executive producer, R. Ryan 911, because he
Nice.
has been like the official historian of 3 in, 3 out. I bet he
Mm.
can actually tell us if that was Damien Lewis's first MVC trophy.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That dude is keeping a finer ledger than I even keep on the ins and outs. So thank you. That's Frost in the Discord, and of course our live executive producer. He's the man. What else can be said about him?
All good things. We can only
All the good
say
things.
good things because it's fun when we go back and we look some of those statistics. Like we find out that Clinton's in to out ratio heavily leans toward the first quarter, and it's those types of statistics that can help make the show better. I don't know, but
Yeah.
at least we know.
Listen, it's like the Amazon stats, right? That they're there, they power it, and Frost powers us that way. And lo and behold, in the Discord, Brandon, look who's up first. Do you see who that is in the Discord for our From the Flock section?
I did because I was stalling just enough time talking about R Ryan 911 that I could get my Discord pulled up, and
Nice job.
these links or these little ins and outs, and we've got Frost at the top, giving the out to DJ. Got to run up and fair catch that punt. There were a couple times in this game where DJ Dallas just letting the ball land and giving us bad or worse field position.
One of the things back in the day when Tyler Lockett was still doing the job, but it was very evident he was not as explosive as a punt returner. But I often would be like, hey, that was cool though. Like he sprinted upfield 12 yards and caught the ball. Like not letting that land saved us probably 15 yards right there.
That's as good as a
DJ,
return
yes,
if you can do that right.
that the maths for me, man. I'm cool with it. So I do like that call out. And let's go with one more from Frost because he does all this stuff for us here. He says, in just before the 2-minute warning, Drew fired that laser to JSN over the middle. It was a big third down pickup. We end up getting the field goal that drive. Look, this is the what JSN can do for you type thing. I think he's still only 21 years old. I believe he's a young man still. So seeing Drew zip it to him, 3rd and whatever, 10, another conversion, beautifully done. Nice call out by Frost.
We've got Design Pete's Beach House and Flocktimus Prime, both attending the game live and leaving their ins into the Discord and going with an in to lock for the block on the K9 touchdown. And Keith adding, that's what we call a lock blockers. He was lock blocked.
Yes, and I chimed in later with Lock Heward, which I thought was at least a bit witty. I love that play. That play's gorgeous. 23-yard run. I cash on that play. That was one of my props on PNW Prop Stars. K9 over 13.5 for his longest run. That's the one that smash spots it for me. I knew it was coming, and there it was. So I love getting paid on that, and also love that K9 is sitting there like directionally being like, hey, Cody, that's your guy. Go get him. And then you still get Locke finishing it off. So lovely stuff right there. We got Car. She's always in the Discord and putting her wishes into the what if well. She goes, in running the ball works? Question mark. And yeah, running the ball works, Brandon, in the NFL. Go figure.
Well, it was working for the Eagles at times too. We've got Amy saying an out to Taylor. He is an old razor, can't hold an edge. And Daryl Taylor was not the only one that had trouble holding the edge on the day, but in this particular moment, Amy calling him out.
Yeah, and we got Flocktimus one more time using an old gif of when 3 in, 3 out was a different type of program, but still me doing it at that point. Just me saying, run the friggin' ball, and good things happen when you run the friggin' ball. It was just, Brandon, the style of football. How about this? That drive to get us out of the second half. What were the feels like when you're watching it be the K9 show up and down the field?
It was fun. I mean, it felt like it complemented some of that toughness that we were seeing that we talked about on special teams there with Hall, on defense with Mike Jack. Yeah, it was it completed that circle.
Circle of life. We talked about it.
We've got Noah Abobo with an in. The offense played at the end of the game. The defense played to the end of the game. The coaching staff actually benched somebody. You could say they were out because of an injury, but whatever. Yeah. Garen coming in with those and all good things.
Yep. I guarantee he's right about that. Look, benching the dudes takes some gumption. The Eagles shook things up big time, and maybe it worked. I don't. They lost, but I don't know if it worked or not. But I was very happy that we made some changes, and Garen calling it out is a good job. We got Delwyn all the way from Australia, says in Drew Lock's post-game on-field interview. What a lovely guy. It gets you in the feels, like to see that dude out there, and then him and the Geno Love Fest. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of that.
I'm glad that the cameras captured that, because what a cool moment to see Drew celebrating and kind of doing that same type of celebration that Geno was on the sideline. They don't always catch those types of things, but it made it that much more special in the moment to be able to have that on screen.
Send whoever that producer is an Emmy, right? For being like, hey, camera 7, get on Geno. Something's about to happen, right? So that's some preparation.
And we've got Leo with an in. Game-winning drive, DK Metcalf all over the field, hands all over the football, and getting those big catches. One of his better contested catches that I think I can even remember, and also snatching it out of the arms of Bradford and getting that other big catch too for first down.
Yeah, we have rolled over on his butt and took that one away too. DK has got a penchant for big plays against the Eagles. This is not the first time, and I'll always remember the deuces he threw up at the end of that playoff game to put that game away, right? So maybe he just likes disappointing Eagles fans, which who can blame a guy? So we got Scott Campbell, another Aussie in. He says life so much better with a huge Seattle win, and I listen, the sky was bluer. The birds were louder, but at the appropriate time. I literally had a much better week after this win. Much better.
And Leo saying also great catch by JSN. Man, what a catch, because just for him to stretch out and in the rain and to get it with his fingertips and then corral it in as he's going to the ground and able to do that at the same time, staying in bounds, keeping his body in position. Just overall, everything that had to happen to secure that catch, to be able to do that, such a big moment for him too.
That catch was unbelievable. It's a great throw, of course. That catch is sick. All that, it's just, I mean, in the elements at that time, everything you said, that catch it's huge, man. So if this team can just find its way to the playoffs, I think we're going to. That will be the play of the year so far.
Garen also coming in saying, funny how excited we are to be 500.
That's okay. Hey, 6-8 would have stunk. 500 with the upcoming schedule. Very, very cool. We got 12th man records, who of course is Jason Bonnard out there. He says in Big Cat Leo Williams. He was the BrandIN. We talk about him every single week. Dude's a really good ball player. He's going to cost a good bit of money, and it doesn't matter. Figure it out. Sign the guy. Just make it happen, Schneider. You have to.
Oh, you have to. If you think about guys who could be cut to save money on this team and try and put together as many plays that they had that were impactful throughout the season, I can think of a couple guys that fall into that category. Has Draymond Jones had as many big moment plays as Leo Williams has in just that short amount of time? No. Has Jamal Adams had that many big time plays in his amount of time? Especially this year? No. So it's when you look at two of those guys probably making the most salary, and I think Quandre Diggs' salary goes up quite a bit too. Yep. I don't even think that he might be the one who comes the closest, but I still don't. I think we've seen more from Leo Williams during his short time here than even Quandre. And
position, defensive tackle.
Yeah.
It is hard to find really good defensive tackles. And he is very, very good at that position. It's just like that. Hey, top 5, top 7, whatever, just upper echelon at a premier position in the NFL. You give up a second rounder for him, open the pay, the checkbook. Yeah. Checkbook. That's what it's still called, and figure it out. So we will, I'm confident we'll figure it out, but this win is so big for him also, because he came to Seattle to win ball games. He came to Seattle to not get beat by the Eagles again. Mm-hmm. He came from New York getting trounced by the Eagles. So there's also that effect on him. We got to carry that over and carry this to the playoffs. but don't underestimate what that means to him and his chance of staying in the city where he's like, I came here to win. And this is why he's here. So I love that part.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up too. How cool is it for him and for Julian Love, two guys
Yes.
who came from the Giants, that then they're the ones getting the job done against their former division rival.
Love it a ton. Love it.
All right. Got anybody else in the Discord? We got Jeremy Evergreen in with Golden Tate raising the 12th man flag. JSN channels his inner Tate with the game-winning catch.
Yes, we got Lisa in Seattle, JSN jiggy with it. I got it right this time. In O-line holding up the ferocious Eagles front. In big block lock. Thank you for keeping that safe for work, Lisa. And then, ouch, not spying hurts when you know he's going to run. Difficult. And then, yeah, the edge containment and 82 yards or something like that. But with that, though, besides that, we really bottled up the Eagles offense just in general. Good job of the D overall. Loved it.
Frost also coming in. Tyler Lockett caught his 600th career pass tonight. What a legend.
Yeah, good job by Lockett. Look, Lockett's gonna, over the next year or two, just probably wane a little bit with his usage as JSN's grows. And again, circle of life, right? It's who would you rather learn under? And all these arguments still, is JSN even a top 3, rookie wide receiver? Yes, I love Tank Dell and Addison and Puka. Look, Puka deserves to win Rookie of the Year. I'm not taking anything away from Puka Nacua. He's freaking awesome. With that, JSN is right on schedule, I feel like, for what he could do down the stretch and then getting into year 2. So loving that. We got right hand Dan in. I know a lot have already said this, but man, I love it when a QB becomes a lead blocker. So that was talked about, but heck, it's such a nice in. We got to talk about it thrice. That's all.
Well, let's close up this circle of show with right hand Dan again saying, we're finally starting with an in, baby. And Car responding, oh, catfish. Yeah, I forgot that was even a rule.
Oh, right back where we started from. Isn't it fun, Brandon? It really is. It is so much better when you win freaking ball games. We will see how this all goes. We get to go to Nashville. Probably going to be Ryan Tannehill because it looks like a high ankle sprain for Will Levis. Is that good? Is that bad? I could make arguments to both sides of how that might play out. Regardless, they're a beatable team. And we got a job to go do. We've got to keep the momentum going. Really hoping that Waldron team are like doubling down on the commitment to run the football. Tennessee's kind of mid in terms of defensive, run defense. You could run the ball against them. So hopefully that keeps on rocking. Looks like beautiful weather, 60 degrees in Nashville, sunny weather looking like in Nashville for Sunday. Christmas Eve should be a blast. And I will say this, Brandon, Thursday Night Football, there's this sentiment that we want the Rams to lose. I am here to tell you, Seahawks fans and 12s and members of the flock, we don't want that outcome. We always
want that outcome.
We do not. We always until we don't. They're playing the Saints. We want them to beat the Saints. And I know there's like, oh, it's 49% and 43% if they do, if they don't. And you're wrong. I was getting, a good conversation on Twitter. Yeah. Bottom line is we want the Saints to fall off. The Saints could sneak in. We're not going to beat the Rams if we're head to head, we're out. Folks, just trust me on this one. The better path for us is if the Rams win this ball game. And I'll give you one more reason, Brandon. The dark horse MVP is Matthew Stafford. I don't want Brock Purdy winning an MVP. I don't want it. So let's.
You rather have Matt Stafford?
1,000%. 1,000%. Let the veteran go do it on a team that was supposed to be crappy, who probably is going to make the playoffs. Let Stafford go get the MVP. Let's go Rams. I'm telling you, I know it sounds dirty and I don't care. I don't care if it's gross. We got to do what's right for Seattle, and what's right for Seattle this week, tomorrow, in fact, is a Rams W versus the Saints. That's what I'm pulling for.
I guess I'm going to have to feel this out a little bit more. I don't know if I can completely be with you on it. But, I didn't know a few weeks ago that I would want a victory over the Titans for Christmas, but that would get our Seahawks back above the 500 mark and looking that much closer to getting a playoff spot. Come on, Seahawks, let's get us a win for Christmas.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 in, 3 out, the most unique. I'm going to put these at the end. It's going to be great.